Hello, this is your podcast for advertising and promotion. I'm not going to cover the digital advertising tools or website design tools because we've covered those previously already. This is primarily for those of you who are focused on how to build awareness, or the colloquial way of saying that is to get their name out there through the use of advertising and communication tools. The framework that we'll be using to guide the development of an advertising and communication strategy is called the Advertising and Promotion Pyramid. The two dimensions for this pyramid are the bottom dimension, which is how broad the reach is of the tool that you're proposing to use in terms of covering the target audience. And then the vertical axis is how much it costs to use that tool on a per contact basis. Clearly at the lower level of the pyramid, the cost per contact in media advertising is known as CPM, or cost per thousand. And it's really important to recognize that by the time a company is using its most expensive tool, a salesperson, to call on individual customers, the price of using that tool is approximately $300 per call. So on a relative basis, if we say an ad in a trade journal maybe has a CPM of $50, the CPM of a salesperson visit would be $300,000. The basic premise is a company should never use tools at higher levels of the pyramid, given their focused and expensive nature, without first leveraging more cost-efficient ways of communicating with the target about who the company is, qualifying the target market leads in terms of their interest, and sometimes this is called warming them up, moving the leads from cold leads, which essentially are cold calls, to very interested prospects before a salesperson spends a lot of time to close a sale. It can take multiple sales calls to close a high-tech sale because there's so much customer ambiguity, known as fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So relying on this pyramid is critical. One of the most common critiques that I hear from high-tech companies is that they don't have money to spend on marketing communications, advertising, collateral material, which is brochures. But the fact is, they'll send their owner or founder out to make a sales call, and it's the opportunity cost of that person's time is so high, and it really is needs to be reframed in terms of how can the company not afford to at least do some efficient communication strategies, because the opportunity cost of those high-level tools is just so steep. So as you see on this slide, all levels of the pyramid need to be used in a coordinated campaign, the idea of integration. And of course, with the internet, and particularly selling to technology-oriented customers, the internet can be used to gain cost efficiencies at all levels of the pyramid. At the lowest level of the pyramid is media advertising. Mass media channels can be used to target a very broad reach. For instance, if we use the Wall Street Journal, radio ads, television ads, for instance, on the Super Bowl or NFL games or the Olympics. Outdoor boards, billboards are very common in Silicon Valley or high-tech industry clusters. But the fact is, some of the most common media channels used for technology companies are very targeted trade journals. For example, Blue Marble Biomaterials, which is a fragrance and food flavoring green chemistry company in Missoula, Montana, reads very carefully the trade journal in that industry, which is Organic Food. And these targeted trade journals are read by technical customers, and they provide a very focused reach using traditional media advertising. In addition, the internet can be used in a wide variety of creative ways to place ads through display ads using cookies and behavioral targeting on appropriate websites to reach the right target market. As you can see, the critical issues in buying media are issues that the majority of marketing people already know because this is not their first marketing class. If, however, issues related to reach or wasted coverage, CPM, editorial climate, repetition or frequency of the ads, using an ad agency, or how to create good messages, good creative, if you need information on that, our book refers you to some basic material that can be helpful. At the second level of the pyramid is public relations. Public relations defined are any activities that a company uses to develop goodwill with its customers, its community where it's located, and other important stakeholders, be they industry analysts who write white papers, financial analysts who cover IPOs and breaking financial news, government in terms of lobbying activities or regulation activities. And so the job of a PR professional in a high-tech company is critically important. Again, to review basic public relations strategy, we're going to refer you to other resources because what we would like to focus on here is how do you coordinate these campaigns rather than the how-to of developing strategies for the tools. PR also includes event sponsorship, any cause-related marketing, corporate social responsibility, and any broad-based brand advertising that a company may do for the company as a whole without focusing on the merits of individual products. PR professionals do try to generate favorable publicity, which is any coverage received in the news media about the company or its products. These can include press conferences, press releases, staged events such as when Microsoft Bing sponsored the NFL Tailgating Championship Series. And there's a wide variety of ways to generate publicity through new media, including relying heavily on bloggers who are experts in the category. This is where Chapter 12, Influencing the Influencers in a Brand Strategy, can be dovetailed very nicely with public relations. Any sort of direct response media is at the next level of the pyramid. And direct response is nice because this communication can be precisely targeted, whether it's buying a list of trade journal subscribers, whether it's buying a list in a particular SIC code from Dun & Bradstreet, whether it's using email newsletters to reach individual people who have opted in to receive communication. The benefit here is the precision. But the precision is a function of the list quality. And typically, if a company engages in direct response communication, there needs to be more than just one interaction. Sometimes this is called drip email marketing, to have a steady stream of communication that is credible and useful by the people you're sending it to. It should not necessarily include aggressive sales tactics all the time. It could be white papers that you send. It could be content marketing or thought leadership. And so the messaging in the communications is critical. Trade shows, seminars, webinars, and training are another critical way to influence customers and to create awareness. Essentially, trade shows play the important role of providing a venue where customers can evaluate multiple vendors' products in one session. Of course, the Consumer Electronics Show is a critical venue for tech companies. There are also shows in Europe. CeBIT is the big show there. And webinars are useful to provide content marketing and thought leadership. For example, the Technology Marketing Center run by Chris Hallowell provides ongoing seminars to marketing professionals in high-tech companies. And through the course of providing these seminars, companies end up calling on her to provide consulting services. The seminars aren't to explain what she does as a consultant, it's to provide credible leadership so that when high-tech companies have marketing needs, she's the first person that they would turn to. The next level is what is referred to as marketing collateral material, where the word collateral essentially means catalogs and brochures, data sheets, spec sheets. High-tech companies must have credible, clear, visually appealing collateral material. It's very uncommon for a high-tech customer to see a product and make a purchase. Typically, these decisions take a long time. They include multiple people in a buying center who's helping to make the decision. For example, when the IBM Smarter Planet initiative is deployed by a city government or tried to convince city leadership to deploy IBM Smarter Planet analytics, it can involve a very extended sales process. And it's critically important that the material that explains how that company's technology works and the problems that it solves are very clearly communicated. This is where other issues that we've covered in the course, including value proposition, the factors that affect the adoption and diffusion of innovation, how to deal with the FUD factor, whether the company's service and product is scalable as the company grows, and how the price strategy affects customers' perception of value. And that total cost of ownership can be critical in addressing price in a really effective fashion. All of these topics have been previously covered in previous chapters. The next level of the pyramid is telemarketing. And although telemarketing does have a bad name in consumer marketing, and there is a national do not call list, the fact is that most high-tech companies do have customer service personnel who have dedicated accounts that they manage. And the relationship between a purchasing manager on the customer side and a key account manager or customer service personnel on the marketer side, typically these people get to know each other very well through daily or weekly phone calls. Outbound telemarketing is when a company essentially does cold call customers. And I do get phone calls like this as a professional in my office from education technology companies that are trying to sell clickers or ebooks or e-software. Outbound calls are like any other cold calling basis, which it's pretty sketchy. However, to the extent that a company can send an email newsletter and have customers call into the company's call center, that can be much more effective. But the fact is both inbound and outbound telemarketing is used. Again, these call-oriented salespeople provide support to the actual physical salespeople in the field. And then finally at the top of the pyramid is personal selling. Personal selling relates to both marketing communications, it is the top of the pyramid, and personal selling also relates to distribution channels in that personal selling is typically considered to be a direct form of a distribution channel. So we see the intersection between distribution and advertising and promotion at this level. In fact, some companies merge distribution and communication, and they refer to it as multi-channel marketing. The key thing here is that personal selling is highly effective in high-tech markets because salespeople can help customers understand the technology. But it is the most expensive tool, and a company must have a strategy to leverage all of these tools in the pyramid. Do not take this discussion of the advertising and promotion pyramid in isolation of all of our other conversations about Web 1.0 marketing, where companies use search engine optimization, search engine marketing with pay-per-click ads on Google, Bing, Web 2.0 marketing through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Web 3.0 marketing where companies are using mobile electronic devices, tablets, and cell phones to either engage in location-based targeted marketing or to build apps to help customers engage with their products and solve useful problems. The last part of this chapter has an appendix on web analytics, and I do encourage you to recall how important analytics are, because all advertising and promotion has to be based on specific objectives that are linked to specific measures about how to evaluate whether those objectives were achieved. High-tech companies, with their reluctance to spend any money on advertising whatsoever, and given their data-driven nature, must have a method by which the success of any investments in advertising are demonstrated. And this must be considered in advance of spending the money. This ends our podcast for advertising and promotion.